Speaker and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Cabeno's Environmental Response Team. Find them online at cabenoenvironmental.com.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. A big game on Friday in the IHSA state basketball tournament.
You're so excited. You're Bennett. What is your mascot?
The Red Wings. Bennett Academy in the one semifinal game will play.
I can't believe it.
Steve Moore's alma mater. Steve Moore, economist and Govzilla author, joins us now. Steve, like Randolph and Mortimer Duke, our normal bet, $1 on the game, Bennett versus New Trier.
New Trier is in the semi, and is this the
nice basketball fan?
Oh my gosh! So it's the rich kids versus the middle class kids, right?
I would say the street tough Red Wings versus North Shore Candy Asses.
Oh,
yeah,
Dan.
That's what I would say.
Well, that's good. We haven't been, we every year we lose to Evanston, so I have not heard the news, and so that's great. Our two rivals are Loyola and Evanston. Well, that should be a lot of fun. There's a great tape, by the way, people should watch if you're a high school basketball fan, which I am, on the whole history of the IHSA and the tournament, and the amazing, great players from Quinn Buckner to Isaiah Thomas to Anthony Davis, the most amazing, great basketball players of all time came from the state of Illinois. It's nice that something good is coming out of Illinois.
Yeah, exactly. That's about it. We still have some.
By the way, can I make another point? Yes. I'm actually thinking about writing a column about this. That Dan and Amy, when we were growing up, Chicago basketball was the center of the universe for great players.
Yes.
And so Michigan produced a lot of great basketball players, and New York and New Jersey. Now, you know where all the great high school basketball players are coming out of? Texas and Florida.
Well,
and I think that's a little bit of a indication of what's going on with our society. That the power of the U.S. economy, politically, culturally, and even in sports and economically, has moved to these southern states because people don't want to live in high-tax states like Illinois and New York anymore.
No, you know what happened? When COVID happened and we couldn't play sports and we couldn't go to school, a lot of elite athletes moved out of state. And they went to private schools in North Carolina, Florida, and I know a good football player that went down there.
That was happening before COVID, but it certainly increased.
But it accelerated. But Amy's right; it accelerated during COVID. It's a great point, Amy. If you're an elite athlete that has a chance to go professional or something, and then the schools shut down.
Bye, Illinois.
In Chicago. Yeah, I mean, it's pathetic. By the way, I had a piece, I don't know if you guys saw the piece I had in the Wall Street Journal the other day about these 7 states, including Illinois, that now want to impose these wealth taxes on people. So not only do they want to tax you on your annual income and your property and your gas and all that other thing, now let's say you've got a lifetime of savings, they want to tax that too every year. And so we found that those 7 states, are you guys ready for that? In those 7 states, I bet you guys can guess what those 7 states are.
Illinois, New York,
yes.
California.
Yes.
New Mexico?
No, New Jersey.
New Jersey, Connecticut.
Hawaii?
Connecticut, and let's see, what was Maryland, which is the state I live in now. Anyway, those 7 states, and Connecticut, those 7 states, are you ready for this? According to the latest census data through 2022, over the last 10 years, have lost 6 million people. That's like the entire Chicago. How big is the Chicagoland area? Probably.
Yeah, about 7 million.
The whole area.
Yeah. So that's how many people are leaving these high tax. Wouldn't you think that these progressives would start to get it? That high crime, high taxes, lousy schools, all this woke crap is making people leave?
Just more for them with whoever is bound to stay. Just more for them, protects them, and more for them to distribute to themselves, I suppose. Speaking of
it's a good thing, that Ken Griffin has left the state, because you don't need those damn rich people anymore that pay huge percent of the bill.
Yeah, exactly. Businesses come and go. That's our attitude. Businesses come and go. It's not a big deal.
Mostly go.
Yeah, not a big deal. What was a big deal yesterday is Jay Powell's bellicose talk about interest rates, and the Wall Street Journal editorial board is cheering him on. Is that the right play?
I'm not so sure about that. Look, I do. Let me say this. Number one, it is true that the top goal right now of the Federal Reserve and just our overall economic policy is to get inflation down. We can't go forward with 6 or 7% inflation. It's just a killer for families. I mean, Amy, how many times have we talked about, the price of groceries and the price of gas and all of these things that you have to buy? And most people think the inflation rate's a lot higher than 6 or 7% for the essentials. So you have to extinguish the inflation. The real question then, Dan and Amy, is how? What's the best way to do it? Well, let's go back to the source. Now, Dan and Amy, because I've said it week after week after week, why do we have this runaway inflation?
Devaluing the currency.
runaway government spending.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. The government created this crisis by literally, almost literally, taking $100 bills in helicopters and flying over cities like Chicago and dropping the $100 bills out the window. That can be popular in the short term. Oh, look, free money. But what happens then? It drives up the prices and it ruins an economy. I mean, I call it the Argentina and Venezuela model of economic development. So the point I'm driving at is, rather than driving up interest rates, for mortgages and consumer credit and any business that's trying to get a loan, those interest rates have already risen from about 2% when Trump was president to 5% or more now under Biden. Why not just cut government spending by $500 billion? I mean, we could do that easily. That's a layup. To go back to basketball. And you do that, and I guarantee you that will bring inflation down. So I want to cut government spending. I don't want higher interest rates.
Well, we could do something else, too. In fact, the big guy, Mr. 10%, proposed it the other day. We could tax people who make more than $400,000 because there's no way a billionaire should be paying more in taxes than a firefighter.
You mean less? They're saying that
less. Yeah, right. No, a billionaire should not be paying less in income taxes than a firefighter. Right? Exactly. Yeah, that's what he said.
I want to find that billionaire that's paying less than a firefighter, because you look at the official IRS data. This comes, from the IRS, and it was reported on this week in the Wall Street Journal, that the top 1%. Guess what, Amy? You'll be my focus group this morning. Guess what percentage of the overall income tax burden in the United States is paid by the top 1%?
50%?
We talked about this the other day.
42.3%.
Yeah.
So one out of 100. By the way, Amy, most people would say, 5 or 6%, or even one less. A lot of people think that the top 1% pay less than 1% of the tax burden. No, they pay 42%. They're the ones who employ people. They're the ones who start businesses. I'm going to make a little confession to you guys. I like rich people. Shh, don't tell anybody. Rich people
you are
the ones
one.
Who make our, they create great businesses. So this idea that we're going to balance the budget by just socking it to the rich, come on. And by the way, for the same reason that rich people are moving out of Illinois and New York and California, if we keep raising our taxes, what do you think they're going to do? Then they're going to move out of the United States. They'll move to the Cayman Islands or something.
Well, if we're not going to raise taxes on fat cats like you, Steve, then the least we can do is forgive student loan debt, or more to the point, socialize it so everybody else pays it. At least you fat cats can pay for other people's student debt. This is a case before the Supreme Court right now.
And by the way, this is an emergency. This is an emergency.
Exactly.
It's a COVID emergency that we get rid of student loan debt. Somebody's got to explain that one to me, how student loan debt is a COVID emergency.
Yeah. Well,
that's the power. Did you know this, Sam? That's the power that Biden asserted. He said, I have the unilateral power to spend this money because of COVID.
Well, he's actually invoking the 2003 HEROES Act. Is what he's doing.
The HEROES Act. Okay.
Yeah, he's invoking an administrative act that has nothing to do with that. That basically, but it is the emergency powers, and it's really remarkable to hear these arguments being advanced by justices like Sotomayor and Kagan, because they're essentially taking the position the Supreme Court did in the Korematsu case, where the Supreme Court upheld FDR's decision to intern the Japanese under this nebulous idea of the executive's emergency powers, such that it is not the court's job to determine whether or not there is an emergency. It's only their job essentially to defer to the executive when he declares an emergency. I can't believe this court is going to sustain that argument and the $600 billion that the Congress never contemplated would be implicated by the 2003 HEROES Act because they never budgeted for any spend along these lines. So what happens if and when the Supreme Court strikes this down?
Well, first of all, I mean, just think about, here's a kind of counterintuitive example, but imagine that it was Donald Trump that was president and he wanted to spend all this money or do all these things without congressional authority. What would they all say? Oh, he's a dictator. He's a dictator. So I don't see that anybody on the left calling Biden a dictator for unilaterally doing this. Look, I think that these emergency powers, I don't care who the president is, are getting to be a really bad idea because you're right. You mentioned
he needed it.
Internship. What?
I'm sorry. He needed it for midterm votes.
Right, exactly. Well, look, my point is, if these things are so urgent, why can't Congress vote on it? I read the Constitution. I know most people think that's an old-fashioned document, but the Constitution says in Article 1 that Congress has the authority to spend. The president does not have the authority to spend, and he's asserting this. That's a dangerous thing, and I'm with you, Dan. I think it would be at least 6-3, maybe 7-2, except for the fact that there's this big issue about whether the plaintiff in this case had standing to sue, and that's a little outside of my area of expertise. But just on the issue of whether or not the president has this authority, hell no, because we have divided powers in this country. We are not a dictatorship. I don't care what Joe Biden says, and I'm praying that the Supreme Court overturns this, not only because I think it's outrageous that we're forgiving people's, loans to deadbeats who didn't pay their loans, but also because it's a really bad precedent for America that the president can just, without the will of the Congress, make these decisions.
And teach financial responsibility. Real quick, Dan, you weren't here on Ash Wednesday, but Stephen Moore, you said you gave up sex with your wife for Lent, and we were just wondering. Yeah, it got ugly early. We were just wondering how that's going.
Yeah. I wasn't able to.
Keith,
I wasn't able to.
Please,
I'm very weak.
Please give us the details. Yeah, don't leave anything out. Yeah.
Instead, I decided to give up carrots and broccoli.
Oh,
okay, yeah.
Sure you did. Okay.
That was a lot easier.
Yeah, good fallback position.
And by the way, thanks for bringing that up, Amy.
Well, you brought it up, and people were wondering how your goals are coming along.
You lasted 8 days. How long did your wife last? Never mind. Hi-oh, thank you very much.
Amy, what did you... Amy,
I gave up swearing for Lent, and that lasted...
And how's that going?
That didn't go well, Stephen Moore. I lasted about an hour and a half.
Have you used the F word any time in the last 8 days?
Yeah, I don't like that word. I use other words. But thank you for bringing that up and acknowledging my faults. All right. I appreciate it.
Steve, we'll let you get... I know you're a lover, not just an economist. We know that now. And you're also the author of Govzilla. Thanks for joining us, Steve. We appreciate that.
Have a great week.
Good luck to your Trevians. Yes.
Eddie joined us on our TurnKey.pro answer line.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The Daily Herald 2022 Best of the Fox winner for Best Financial Planner is Total Clarity Wealth Management. The 2022 Reader's Choice Award winner for Best Wealth Management Firm and Best Financial Planner is Total Clarity Wealth Management. Are you ready for a change? Choose Total Clarity Wealth Management. With a professional team of financial advisors and CPAs, they can show you the way to financial readiness and keep you on track. Their philosophy is built on solid relationships and trust, with access to expertise in tax planning strategies, 401k rollover services, estate planning, and more. They can help you be ready for anything.
Hi, this is Terry Murphy. The cornerstone of our practice has been to help clients stay focused on their goals throughout life's changes.
Get in touch with them at TotalClarityWealth.com. That's TotalClarityWealth.com. Securities offered through LPL Financial Member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Total Clarity Wealth Management Inc., a registered investment advisor and separate entity from LPL Financial. Awards are based on number of reader votes. This award is not representative of the views of clients and is not indicative of future performance or services.
All right. For years now, you've heard about TurnKey offering more than just managed IT services. Now, they've stepped up to offer even more business solutions to help you navigate the day-to-day hurdles and help you grow. Do you have a long-term strategy such as identifying new revenue streams, growing your customer base, or increasing your bottom line? TurnKey can help. Maybe it's a short-term problem like an employee leaving abruptly or filling positions that you've had open for months. You may need a shift supervisor, a part-time CFO, an IT guy, or a temporary general manager. TurnKey can help. Whether it's a seasonal problem or a long-term need, TurnKey's consulting staff has years of experience in nearly every business function. For a limited time, TurnKey will provide a free consultation to look at your situation and see what it would take to resolve it. So go to turnkey.pro and learn more. The pros at TurnKey share your values and they're Chicagoland small business champions. Visit turnkey.pro to book your appointment today. That's turnkey.pro.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm 58 years old. I was told about Balance of Nature. I watched an older couple in their 90s go from being couch potatoes and not moving at all to getting up. And then within a few weeks, they started going up and walking to get the mail. And then they're walking around the blocks. I mean, hello. And I'm like, all right.